Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the latest in our I Love Claims ClaimsTech Leadership 2021 interviews, a series that will run all the way through the spring and summer, where we bring claims and C-suite experts from across the industry talking to us about ClaimsTech. And I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me today Thompson, the Chief Claims Officer at Zurich. Zurich are definitely viewed as one of the most progressive insurers in technology and specifically in claims tech terms. So it's a really good company for us to focus in on. Ian's also renowned for being one of the nicest guys in the industry and one of the most patient guys in the industry, as this is actually the second take we've had to do with this interview. We did a beautiful take one and we had some technology issues. So thanks for your patience and thanks for joining us, Ian.
Stu, it's great to be here as well and talking to you again.
Lovely. So let's get straight into it. And I guess COVID is at the front of all our minds in so many respects. Practically speaking, though, what's been Zurich's experience and your experience of working in a pandemic with all its disruption? And also, what have you learned about the use of technology and how we could maybe use it better going forward?
Well, it's been quite experience for all of us, hasn't it? And anything I say now, I don't want to detract from the personal impacts that this pandemic has had, which have been tragic and severe. But looking at it from a perspective of Zurich and Zurich Claims, what has been fantastic has been about the blend between people and the technology. The technology in itself doesn't solve anything. But what we've seen is how so rapidly our teams right across the globe have moved to be comfortable with using the technology. We were very specific that we were going to prioritize on people's health and welfare within Zurich, and we moved to working from home in many countries way before there was any request from government or others to do that. And in some cases, we were able to get up and running at 100% claims capacity within 48 hours of making our decision to work from home. So it's great that the technology platform there has worked, but it's an enabler. But what has been so incredible and something I'm just so in awe of is how our people have stepped up. They've used the technology, they've focused on the customer, and they've adapted the way they work. They've demonstrated that they can really adapt and be agile and change quickly. And often in insurance, people don't say, oh, our staff are adaptable, they can, can work in different ways. And let's face it, for so many companies, not just insurers, if the proposal had been, right, we're going to move to 100% home working, somebody would have been given the job for a 5-year program of cultural change and empowerment and new metrics and all of this. And yet we did it in 48 hours. Our transactional net promoter scores went up in 2020 across our life and our property casualty claims.
Wow.
And their employee net promoter score also went up. And today we released our results for 2020, and our group CEO, group CFO both recognise the significant contribution of claims and all our teams that are customer facing in helping our customers through the pandemic, which is great to have that recognition at such a senior level.
Brilliant. And I guess that's something that resonated all the way through our recent product showcase as well, Ian, whereby I think there's a worry or a perceived threat that technology is going to replace the need for great claims people. And actually, everybody in the product showcases, even the people producing the technology, were saying this is absolutely dependent on great people to use and utilize and make best use of. So
no, it completely is. And I've gone on record as well to say, look, technology is not a panacea. Automation and digitalization are really vital for us to continue to be competitive, because that's what our customers are looking for. And the pandemic and the way that we've changed the way we live has just created an even greater demand on claims and insurers to step up and provide the kind of interaction that customers want. But it's also demonstrated that a personal touch is really important. And you need people who are skilled and capable to problem solve when the automation just can't deal with a different situation to the more routine, shall we say.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So I guess, and you mentioning your customer net promoter scores going up is fantastic, and a real credit to Zurich in such challenging times. You are quite well known for your commitment to developing great solutions for customers. What initiatives are you most proud of that have changed claims outcome in claims tech, or even not claims tech necessarily?
Well, we, over the last couple of years, have tried to make significant strides forward on turning those words that you hear from so many companies about customer-centric and customer-led into real actions.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it's not just about necessarily technology. So one thing I'm immensely proud of is for instance, in the UK, in the floods that have impacted some of our customers over the last 3 to 4 weeks, that actually what we've been providing to customers is counselling services alongside the more traditional claim services. Not something we ask them to pay for, but we recognise it's extremely traumatic to be flooded out of your house, particularly so during a pandemic, and therefore to think, what is it our customers need? They don't just need dehumidifiers and the repair guys coming in. They need somebody that they can talk to and talk through the challenges for them as small business owners or as individuals, impacted in their own home. And then from the technology side, I'm really proud of the work that we've done to try and give greater ability for our customers to interact with us when they want to. We've seen, the increasing use of text message and chatbots, and these are relatively simple things and things we're used to, but unfortunately, insurers generally, not always, but generally, have lagged behind in grasping some of these simple ways to interact with customers. Got to move away from this idea that customers are quite happy to call our call centre between 8 in the morning and 6 at night, or whatever the parameters might be, and recognise that we as customers expect to have instant interaction with somebody who can let us know what it is we need to know, whatever the time of day or night it is. That's what we get from our banks, our utility companies, from many, many service providers. Insurers have got to step up on this. Claims have got to be there at the forefront of that as the key service and experience that we deliver.
Yeah, fantastic. We've seen in the recent ILC ClaimsTech product showcase great examples of technology being used to influence all parts of the claims process and value chain. But if you're going to single out one area where its influence has been most positive, either for Zurich or across the piece in your view of the world, where would that be?
I think it's really difficult to single out a single stage, but let me kind of come at that question from two angles. The first kind of response I give you is technology in claims works best when it's actually joined up right across the insurance value chain, that it starts from the product and it goes through the service. And then if the claim arises, that it links into the claim. Too many times we're launching products and great ideas that when it comes to the claim service, we're just not geared up for. So in Spain, where they're really thinking about the end-to-end customer experience, the kind of technology we're deploying in claims is completely in line with the experience that the customer's getting on the purchase stage and the servicing stage. And that makes me not just happy, but excited for how we can do more of that. And then I'd flip it around and go, do you know what? Sometimes it's the less sexy elements of the claims process where we can have the biggest impact. It's amazing to me how many times we are still struggling to pay our customers quickly. And it's payment processing that is either seen as, oh, that's not really a claims responsibility, or that's with the finance team, or, oh, well, we can't tackle that. We've seen some great work in our Irish team working with one of our partners to streamline the payment processing, getting money into people's bank accounts directly through electronic fund transfer, but also for our supplier partners. I know how challenging it can be to be a smaller supplier working with a big insurer, and prompt payment, easy payment, not having to have staff whose job it is to go through all those checks that come in attached to a letter, rip them off and then take them down to the bank. Never mind in a pandemic, in normal business as usual environment, that's just unbelievably inefficient. So I'd pick out, if there was one thing that I think has been a great step forward, payment processing. Now, there are many, many others, particularly customer-facing things, but I'd offer you those two thoughts around your question.
Do you know what? It's really great when thought leaders and claims leaders like you to talk about things which really resonate with things that we're seeing in ILC as well. And one of the themes of the product showcase was end-to-end technology solutions that cover the whole range of the insurance value chain. And actually, from a practical perspective, you and I would both know it's much easier to get sign-off for the investment when the chief claims officer, the chief underwriting officer, and the chief marketing officer are all singing from the same hymn book and looking for the same product. And
absolutely.
At that level, that's really valuable. And in the week that Tesla bought Bitcoin shares, I think you really hit the nail on the head in terms of payment technology is going to be one of the things that moves very quickly. And we heard some amazing stuff from MasterCard in the product showcase, which I think they'll really influence the market going forward. And on the same theme, what have you seen outside of insurance, which has blown you away or really impressed you, and think we should be learning from that? We should be taking advantage of that capability in insurance.
Look, personally, I think I should spend more time looking out of insurance for what good looks like, and learning from that and bringing the challenge back inside. And I think that's something we should all do if we work in insurance and in claims. I guess we've all become far more reliant on online services during this pandemic. Maybe we were used to food and maybe the odd bit of clothes, and now it's everything. And look at how the logistics work so smoothly. I've now got about 6 apps on my phone from different couriers and delivery companies. When I order something online, it's instantly confirmed in my email. I get a text message, the day of delivery is confirmed, then within 24 hours, the hour of delivery is confirmed, and there it comes and it gets delivered. Just incredible how that works. And that can be something as well, kind of about the rest of you, but jigsaws have become a big part of what we do in our evenings now. So a £5 jigsaw is now arriving within 24 hours with full visibility. How comes we can do that for a £5 jigsaw, but somebody's 15, 20, 25,000 pound car, so many of our customers, so many of those working or dealing with claims have to do all the chasing? There's something that we've got to take away from this and ask, how does that logistical network work so effectively for so mmany online retailers? And how do we apply those same principles into the insurance value chain, and particularly the claims fulfillment side of things?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll resonate with a lot of people, Ian. Now, I recently spent a little time with Amy Brettel and Will Paskin from the UK claims team. Hugely impressive, talented people, and the business is in safe hands when the old guys move on, clearly. But they were talking to me about how their role is to basically build a bridge, or Will's role is to build a bridge, working for Amy, between the technology solutions and the claims department, to make sure that there's a clear understanding about what's required, both from claims and also in terms of the delivery process. How's that working? It's a really interesting concept, but also how do you find the kind of the getting claims stuff on the agenda in a huge organisation like Zurich?
Roles like the one that Will plays so effectively in the UK are really important, because you find that a lot of the time the technology agenda is set outside of claims. It's often with the chief operating officer or the chief technology officer. So unless you're actually able to get around that table and influence that, you find that you risk that others are making decisions around technology, not fully understanding what the claims need is. So, those roles are vital. We actually have a network of endeavour. We have many networks of excellence around recoveries and other key areas of claims like fraud, but we also have what I term a network of endeavour, which is people who are involved in innovation in the claims teams, alongside partners from other parts of the organisation, from technology, from our agile teams, from customer. And one of my team, Andrew Fairclough, facilitates those meetings on a regular basis globally, so we can share insight and understanding around different technology people are working with, and try to find ways to share experience across the different parts of Europe, the different claims teams in different geographies, so people can try to kind of fast track the opportunities that are out there, but also find where they can leverage off other people's business cases to make the cases within their own particular country or team.
That's really interesting. Kind of goes to my next question, which was around legacy and the fact that Amy and Will and I talked about the challenges of working in a large insurance company where you've got huge legacy systems, and you can never really necessarily be as agile as a startup. But actually, you kind of highlighted one of the, if you utilize your scale by making sure you're learning across the globe what different parts of the business are going, you can offset some of the damage. But legacy still is a problem for big insurers, isn't it? It must make you less agile.
It is. But I also think we can use it as an excuse around agility because, we've got to replace the legacy system, and that's a 5-year program, and so it costs, thousands of lives and tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, but maybe what we need to look at is how we can bring platforms in place that sit on top of the legacy, create the customer experience and the user experience that we expect without replacing the core systems. And I'm sure Amy and Will talked about some of the things they're working on in that respect in the UK, but we're certainly doing that in Ireland and in many other places around the world where we look at these opportunities. And this is where partnerships with external providers who can provide components that work effectively, but organizations that are agile and work in the way that we need to work with them to drop things in months rather than years is so important, ideally days or weeks rather than months. But that's also where it's great to have a good network externally that feeds these ideas in. So people like Dan White and the team at 90, I have regular interaction with because they're so close to what's on the cutting edge of innovation, who are the partnerships and companies they're working with. And we also talk around collaboration around the industry on some of these things as well.
Yeah. We referred to it. I'm going to finish on it with a question on people because we are a network of claims people. And I guess one of the things that I think perhaps worries people a little bit in the sort of wider claims community is that AI and automation and machine learning is going to basically remove the need for huge tranches, pretty much rip the guts out of the claims world. I guess ILC, we think slightly differently. We think people are always going to be at the heart of the best claims solutions. But we probably need to recruit and train for different skill sets in a more technology-driven world. What do you think the claims handler of the future will look like in Zurich?
I don't think there is going to be one model for the claims handler of the future in Zurich or any other carrier. We started to look at this question 3, 4, 5 years ago and started to map out possible future scenarios when you take our claims population, the roles we have, the technology pathways that we could see and what the impacts would be. I think there is a couple of takeaways from that. Firstly, I think there'll be far more roles augmented by technology than replaced by technology in claims. It's clear, though, that there are so many inefficient processes that we have and steps that we have in our process that can be automated, that's going to have an impact on people. But I think it's an accountability that we take seriously at Zurich, and I know others do as well across the industry, which is, I don't think it's just about recruiting people. It's actually looking at the workforce we have and say, these are really dedicated, professional, experienced people. So how do we support them in training and development that goes beyond the traditional, let's help you understand how to handle a motor claim or a bodily injury claim or a business interruption claim, into how do we skill you to be more agile in the way that you approach things? How do we skill you around problem solving? How do we skill you to actually think about how you can interact with digital systems? And I see a future in which, real-time adjustments are being made by claims professionals in the way a system works based on what they've just experienced and looking forward to see how they can deliver for the customer more effectively. So I think digital skills are going to become much more blended into everybody's work and claims as much as anybody.
Brilliant. That's been a fascinating insight into the world of Zurich. It sounds hugely positive and hugely exciting for you guys. Thank you so much for your time, Ian. That's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure as well to see you, Stuart, again, and to support the event.
Thank you.